There comes a moment in every life when the world stands still for a second. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with music, applause, or warning. It arrives quietly, disguised as a choice. A single decision. One moment that, if seized, will change everything. Not tomorrow. Not years from now. But now. Right here. Right where you are. That moment doesn't care about your past, your failures, your doubts, or your fears. It only asks one question. Will you decide? Life doesn't shift because of luck. It doesn't transform because someone finally gives you permission. It moves because you do. It bends to the weight of decisive minds. It rewrites itself for those who dare to draw a line and say, "This is where everything changes." Every great story begins with that moment. Thomas Edison wasn't born with light in his hands. Walt Disney wasn't handed a kingdom of dreams. Henry Ford wasn't crowned the architect of the modern age. Abraham Lincoln wasn't destined for greatness by birth. Each of them stood at a crossroads, invisible to everyone but themselves, and they made a decision. One that would break the ordinary. One that would shake the world. That's the power of a single decision. People overcomplicate transformation. They talk about years of planning, perfect conditions, lucky breaks. But the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth, is that everything starts with a moment. One decision to stop accepting less. One decision to act when others wait. One decision to trust the whisper inside instead of the noise outside. That's the difference between the masses who watch their lives pass by and the few who build theirs like empires. Your life at this very moment is the sum of your decisions. Not the ones you wanted to make. The ones you did. Every action you've taken, every path you've walked, every door you opened or closed, it all brought you here. And if 1,000 small decisions built this reality, then one powerful decision can build a new one. But here's the truth most will never face. That decision won't feel safe. It won't come wrapped in certainty. It will come with fear breathing down your neck. It will come with doubt whispering that you're not ready. It will come with the weight of every failure you've ever known. That's the test. It's not supposed to feel comfortable. It's supposed to demand courage. Greatness isn't about waiting for the fear to disappear. Greatness is about deciding anyway. It's about saying, "I don't know how this ends, but I refuse to stay where I am." Look back through history. Andrew Carnegie decided to leave the steel mills and build an empire. Walt Disney decided to risk everything on a mouse no one believed in. Steve Jobs decided to build something the world didn't know it needed. Napoleon Hill decided to devote his life to uncovering the philosophy of success when he had nothing but belief. They all faced the same storm of uncertainty. But their decision made them unshakable. The decision that changes your life won't always be loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's waking up at 4:30 when no one's watching. It's walking away from what's killing your spirit even if it's comfortable. It's building when no one claps. It's saying, "I'm done living in the shadow of my own potential." You are one decision away from everything changing. But you must understand, it's not the decision itself that carries the power. It's what happens after you make it. It's the unwavering commitment that follows. The fire that refuses to die once it's been lit. The shift from hesitation to movement. From victim to creator. From someday to today. The moment you make that decision, something extraordinary happens. The world begins to rearrange itself around your new standard. It's like a current pulling everything into alignment with the choice you made. But most never get to see it. Because they never make the decision. They think about it. They talk about it. They plan for it. But they never decide. And life doesn't reward thought. It rewards action. You've felt it before, that small, powerful whisper in your chest that says, "There's more." The one that stirs when you're quiet. The one that won't shut up no matter how much noise you bury it under. That voice isn't your enemy. It's your calling. It's the part of you that still remembers who you could be. And it's waiting for you to stop watching your life like a movie and step onto the stage. One decision can be the spark that burns down the walls you've built around yourself. It can be the breath that revives the dreams you buried. It can be the turn that leads to an entirely different road, the one you were meant to walk. But here's what you must understand. The power is not out there. Not in luck. Not in circumstance. Not in permission. The power is within you. It always has been. Most people spend their lives waiting for something to change, not realizing that they are the change, not realizing that one act of will can open a door they thought was locked forever. And yes, it will hurt. Change always does. It tears away the comfortable cages we built for ourselves. But comfort is not your friend. Comfort is the slowest kind of death. It whispers that you have time. It convinces you that later is safe. But later is where dreams go to die. The greats understood this. Henry Ford didn't wait for the world to be ready for automobiles. Abraham Lincoln didn't wait for the perfect political moment to speak about freedom. Walt Disney didn't wait for investors to approve his dream. They acted when everything around them said they shouldn't. And that's why their names echo through time. The question isn't whether you have the potential. You do. Everyone does. The question is whether you'll make the decision. The one that costs you excuses. The one that makes you uncomfortable. The one that demands a version of you you've never met. Because that version of you, the one capable of greatness, doesn't appear until you make the decision that forces them to be born. And when that decision comes, don't expect applause. Don't expect a map. Don't expect the fear to vanish. You will walk into the unknown with nothing but faith. But faith is enough. It always has been. It's what carried Edison through failure after failure. It's what carried Disney when they called him foolish. It's what carried Lincoln when they called him naive. It's what carries every soul who ever dared to rise. You are standing at that same crossroads right now, whether you see it or not. The world may not know your name. It may not believe in your dream. It may not clap when you start. But none of that matters. What matters is that you decide to move anyway. Your life is not changed by wishing. It's changed by choosing. Choosing to walk away from mediocrity. Choosing to rise above fear. Choosing to fight for a future no one can see but you. One decision is the difference between who you are and who you could become. One decision separates the dreamer from the doer, the spectator from the builder, the follower from the legend. The moment you make that decision, you stop being a prisoner of your past and start becoming the architect of your future. You stop waiting for things to get easier and decide to get stronger. You stop waiting for doors to open and start kicking them down. And no, the world won't make it easy. It's not supposed to. That's why the few who decide rise so high above the many who don't. The world tests your decision. It shakes it. It tries to see if you're serious. But if you hold the line, if you refuse to bend, it yields. That's the quiet power of the human spirit. It doesn't need the whole world to believe in it. It just needs one decision. One. Your entire destiny can pivot on a moment that everyone else overlooks. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. It's silent. You'll be alone. But alone is where the greatest stories are born. This is the point where your heart beats louder than your fears. Where the whisper becomes a roar. Where the life you've been living collides with the life you're capable of. And when that moment comes, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, you will either decide to step forward or remain where you are. The truth. Nobody's coming to make that decision for you. Nobody's going to drag you into your greatness. This is your hand to raise. Your choice to make. Your life to claim. And that is the most empowering truth of all. Because if it's in your hands, then nothing and no one can stop you. The decision is the spark. But the mindset is the flame that keeps it alive. Decision alone can be powerful, but without the right mindset, it fades like smoke in the wind. Mindset is the soil where your destiny grows. It is the foundation on which everything you build must stand. A weak mind can't hold a strong dream. A fearful mind can't carry a bold vision. But a disciplined, focused, unshakable mind can move mountains. Most people never change their lives because they never change their mindset. They keep making decisions with the same thinking that created the problem in the first place. They want new results without new beliefs. They want transformation without surrendering the comfort of old stories. But winners think differently. When they decide, they don't just move their feet. They rewire their minds. Belief is not a cute idea. Belief is the fuel of revolution. Every invention, every movement, every empire began as a belief that refused to die. Thomas Edison believed light could exist where there was only darkness. Henry Ford believed ordinary people could afford cars when the world laughed at the idea. Walt Disney believed magic could be built with bricks and imagination. Abraham Lincoln believed a divided nation could be whole again. Before the world believed in them, they believed in themselves. Belief is not something you wait for. It's something you choose. It's not born in applause. It's forged in silence. It's not given. It's claimed. That's why the decision is only the beginning. Once you decide, you must believe. Not casually. Not when it's easy. You must believe when no one does. You must believe when doubt crawls through your veins like ice. You must believe when the night is long and your hands shake from carrying the weight of your dream alone. And to truly believe, you must see. Clarity is power. The clearer your vision, the sharper your action. The world does not move for vague wishes. It moves for those who know exactly what they want and are willing to carve reality to match it. The greats didn't just hope. They saw it before anyone else. Walt Disney saw castles on swampland. Andrew Carnegie saw steel empires where others saw soot and sweat. Napoleon Hill saw a philosophy of success before the world had language for it. Most people have no vision. They drift. They wake up, react, and hope something changes. But nothing changes until vision gives it direction. You can't hit a target you can't see. And life doesn't reward confusion. It rewards precision. Clarity is the weapon that cuts through distraction. It's the compass that points through the storm. When you decide, you must create a vision so clear that even when the world doubts it, you see it vividly in your mind. You must see it when you close your eyes at night. You must feel it when no one else does. That vision becomes your anchor. And when the storm comes, and it will, that vision keeps you from drifting. But clarity alone is not enough. Vision without discipline is a dream with no spine. Discipline is the backbone of destiny. It is the fire that burns when motivation dies. It is the step forward when everything inside you begs to stop. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not loud. It's quiet, sharp, and relentless. It's waking up when the world sleeps. It's doing the work when no one's watching. It's standing tall when your knees shake. Most people don't fail because they don't have dreams. They fail because they don't have discipline. They wait for the right mood, the right energy, the right timing. But the great ones don't wait for feelings. They build regardless of them. Discipline is what separates the wishful from the unstoppable. It's the hammer that turns belief into reality. Look at any empire, any innovation, any movement. Beneath every spark of genius is a mountain of discipline. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before light filled the room. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy and ridicule before his assembly lines reshaped history. Walt Disney was rejected hundreds of times before magic touched the world. They didn't keep going because it was easy. They kept going because discipline made quitting impossible. Your decision gives you a door. Your mindset opens it. Your belief walks through. Your clarity sees the destination. Your discipline carries you there. And this is why so few ever make it to the other side, because they make decisions without building the mindset to hold them. If your dream is heavy, make your mind stronger. If your road is steep, sharpen your discipline. If the noise around you grows, build your clarity like armor. Because the truth is simple. The world will not hand you your dream. It will test it. It will weigh it. It will try to break it. And only a mind forged in belief, clarity, and discipline will survive that storm. And make no mistake, the storm is coming. Every great decision is followed by resistance. Life will push to see if you mean it. The moment you decide to change, everything that kept you comfortable will rise to hold you back. Old habits will whisper that it's easier to stay the same. Doubt will dress itself as reason. Fear will dress itself as logic. But none of that is real. It's the old life trying to keep its grip. That's why mindset is not a one-time switch. It's a daily war. A war against comfort, fear, distraction, and delay. A war against the old self that's terrified of change. Winners fight this war not once, but every day. And each day they win, their belief grows stronger. Their clarity grows sharper. Their discipline grows deeper. And one day, without warning, the world that once laughed at them stands aside. This is the invisible battlefield of greatness. It doesn't happen on the stage. It happens in the mirror, in the quiet, in the early mornings when no one sees, in the late nights when no one believes. The battle is not against the world. The battle is against the part of you that clings to the familiar. Once you master that battlefield, everything else becomes inevitable. Because when your mind is unshakable, the world has no choice but to bend. And here's the beautiful truth. Your mind doesn't need permission to become powerful. It doesn't need perfect conditions. It just needs your decision to stop treating weakness like a home, to stop feeding fear with your time, to stop worshiping comfort like it's a god. Comfort may feel safe, but it is a cage made of gold. Winners break it, not because it's easy, but because they refuse to be owned by it. You are one decision away from a completely different life. But that decision won't matter if your mindset stays chained to the person you're trying to leave behind. You can't drag the old you into the new life. You must let them go. So build the mindset that can carry the weight of the life you want. Feed your belief until doubt starves. Sharpen your clarity until distractions blur into nothing. Strengthen your discipline until your excuses break on impact. And then, when the world tries to push you back, push harder. Because the truth is, the world respects strength. It doesn't respect wishes. It doesn't respect maybes. It bows to those who have decided, believed, and built themselves into something unshakable. This is how empires rise. This is how ordinary people become legends. This is how a single decision grows into a destiny. And as you stand where you are right now, that same fire waits inside you. Not in some distant future. Not in the hands of someone else. Right here. Right now. Waiting for you to claim it. There is something that separates those who rise from those who drift. It isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even intelligence. It's purpose. When a human being discovers a purpose that is larger than their fear, larger than their excuses, larger than their past, they become unstoppable. Purpose turns fragile decisions into steel. It turns wandering steps into a straight line. It takes the shaking hands of uncertainty and turns them into a fist that never lets go. Purpose is the reason the greats keep going when the weak give up. Abraham Lincoln faced endless defeats, yet he rose because his purpose burned hotter than his pain. Thomas Edison failed over and over because his purpose outlived each failure. Walt Disney was laughed out of rooms, but he returned because purpose was louder than mockery. Henry Ford went bankrupt more than once, but his purpose didn't. Without purpose, life feels heavy. Every step feels forced. Every setback feels final. But when you live with purpose, pain becomes fuel. Obstacles become puzzles. Criticism becomes background noise. And the world, no matter how loud it gets, cannot drown out a soul that knows why it's fighting. Purpose is not something handed to you. It's something you choose. It's something you uncover when you stop running from silence. Most people drown their purpose with noise. They bury it under distractions, under what the world says they should be. But inside every person is a calling. Quiet, persistent, unyielding. It doesn't shout. It waits. And the moment you decide to listen, everything begins to change. When you find your purpose, you don't need to chase motivation anymore. Purpose becomes your engine. It wakes you up when the world tells you to sleep. It keeps you standing when the ground shakes. It whispers, "Keep going," when everything else screams, "Stop." But finding purpose isn't enough. You must guard it. Because the moment you decide to live with purpose, the world will test it. Life will throw storms at it. People will question it. Doubt will try to claw it out of your chest. And that is why resilience is not optional. It is essential. Resilience is the quiet power that turns ordinary people into legends. It is the refusal to break when the world pushes. It is the decision to rise again and again, even when you have no strength left. Resilience is not loud. It does not need applause. It lives in the breath after failure, in the silence after defeat, in the step taken after everyone else turns back. Every great story has moments of darkness. Walt Disney had a period when he lost everything. Henry Ford was called a fool more times than history remembers. Abraham Lincoln buried his dreams in the soil of failure again and again before they bloomed. Thomas Edison lived through ridicule so deep most would have vanished. What kept them standing wasn't luck. It was resilience, the kind that is built, not born. Resilience isn't forged in comfort. It's born in the cold hours when your dream feels far away. It's built in the moments when no one is watching. When the world forgets your name. When the results don't come. When it would be so easy to walk away. That's where winners are made. Not on the stage. In the shadows. But to be truly resilient, you must also be adaptable. You cannot control the storm. You can only learn to sail through it. Life will not unfold the way you imagine. Your plans will break. Your paths will shift. People you thought would stay will leave. Things you thought were permanent will vanish. And in those moments, rigidity destroys dreamers. Adaptability makes legends. The great ones were never chained to one path. Thomas Edison changed methods thousands of times before the light bulb worked. Walt Disney reshaped his vision again and again when the world closed its doors. Henry Ford adapted technology that didn't exist to build an industry. They didn't cry when their plans broke. They built new plans. They didn't surrender when the door closed. They found another door. They didn't let the storm decide their fate. They learned to bend with it. Adaptability is not weakness. It's the mark of the unbreakable. The tree that refuses to bend snaps in the wind. But the one that bends survives. Winners don't need the world to go their way. They find a way through whatever the world gives them. And here's the hidden truth. Resilience and adaptability are born from inner power, not external validation. You cannot build true strength by waiting for the world to believe in you. You build it by deciding that even if the world doesn't, you will. Your inner power isn't loud. It's not showy. It's quiet, like a heartbeat in the dark. But it is the most dangerous thing a human being can possess. Because once you build it, no one can take it away. Inner power is the ability to keep moving without applause. To keep believing without proof. To keep building when no one sees your bricks. It's the strength that lives in the space between doubt and faith. It's what kept Edison standing. What kept Lincoln speaking? What kept Disney dreaming? What kept Ford building? They didn't need permission. They didn't need everyone to understand. They carried the weight of their vision on their own shoulders and kept walking. Most people will never know this power because they give it away too easily. They give it to opinions, to fear, to excuses, to failure. But the greats, they guard it like a flame in the wind. They don't let anyone touch it. They don't let doubt smother it. They don't let the world own it. Because they understand, the moment you give away your inner power, you give away your future. That's why purpose matters. That's why resilience matters. That's why adaptability matters. Because they keep the flame alive when everything else tries to blow it out. And here's the thing. The world will try. Not because it's against you, but because that's how it tests the worthy. The road to a different life is not lined with comfort. It's lined with resistance. And that's exactly what makes it sacred. Your purpose will not be easy to carry. It's not supposed to be. If it were easy, everyone would do it. If it were painless, everyone would follow their dreams. But most people don't. They let fear build their cage. They let the weight of uncertainty break their will. And so they live the same day again and again, calling it a life. But you have a choice. One decision can change everything. Not because the world will suddenly become easy, but because you will become someone the world can't stop. Your resilience will make failure temporary. Your adaptability will turn obstacles into openings. Your inner power will make fear irrelevant. And your purpose will give you the strength to keep walking when the rest have already turned back. This is why purpose-driven people feel different when they walk into a room. Their presence isn't louder. It's heavier. It's rooted. It's undeniable. Because they've already fought their battles before anyone saw them. They've already bled for their vision when no one believed. They've already built their strength in the silence. And that's the beautiful paradox. The more you build your inner power, the less the world can shake you. The more storms you endure, the calmer you become in the next one. Because resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning to stand inside it without losing your fire. And then something extraordinary happens. One day, the same storms that once terrified you become the winds that carry you forward. The same pain that once crushed you becomes the foundation beneath your feet. The same doubt that once froze you becomes the silence that makes you smile. Because you will know, you've been tested and you did not break. That is the power of one decision. It doesn't just change your path. It changes you. It forges a mind that cannot be owned. A soul that cannot be swayed. A heart that does not quit. And when that happens, the world will have no choice but to recognize you. Not because you asked for it. Not because you begged for it. But because power that real cannot stay hidden forever. There comes a moment in the journey where something shifts. It's quiet. Subtle. But it's real. The fear that once controlled you begins to lose its grip. The doubts that once spoke so loudly begin to whisper. The weight that once felt unbearable starts to feel like armor. That is the moment when you stop chasing strength and start becoming it. When you no longer flinch at resistance, when you no longer seek permission, when you stop asking if you can and start declaring that you will. That is when you become unstoppable. Becoming unstoppable isn't about arrogance. It's not about pretending to be invincible. It's about understanding that storms don't break you, they build you. It's about looking at the weight on your shoulders and saying, I can carry more. It's about understanding that pain isn't a wall. It's a doorway. And the ones who dare to walk through it find something no one else ever will. The world respects those who refuse to bend. It always has. History remembers the ones who kept going long after everyone else stopped. It remembers the builders who laid their bricks in silence. It remembers the dreamers who never traded their vision for comfort. It remembers the warriors who fought battles no one else could see. And whether the world knows your name or not, your story can become one of them. Because greatness is not reserved for the chosen few. It belongs to those who choose themselves. The moment you decide to live with unshakable conviction, something extraordinary happens. People feel it. They may not understand it, but they feel it. The way you walk changes. The way you speak changes. The way you show up in the world changes. Not because you're louder, but because your presence carries the weight of someone who has been through fire and refused to burn. That is real power. That is the kind of power the world cannot ignore. But becoming unstoppable is not just about winning. It's about becoming the kind of person who can endure, adapt, and lead. The kind of person who can hold their vision steady while the world trembles. The kind of person whose belief is so strong it becomes a shelter for others. The kind of person who doesn't just build for themselves, but builds a legacy. Legacy is not about statues or awards. Legacy is the impact your strength leaves behind. It's the echo of your courage in someone else's heart. It's the spark your story lights in someone who thought they couldn't rise. Every person who ever inspired the world wasn't just living for themselves. They were showing others what was possible. Thomas Edison didn't just build light. He built belief. Henry Ford didn't just build cars. He built possibility. Walt Disney didn't just build castles. He built hope. Napoleon Hill didn't just write words. He built generations of warriors who refused to settle. And now it's your turn. You don't need the whole world to see you. You just need to rise. Because when one person rises with true conviction, it creates a ripple. That ripple touches lives you may never meet. And those lives touch others. That is how legacies are born, not in noise, but in quiet, relentless action. Every decision you make shapes that legacy. Every choice to stand when you could have fallen. Every time you hold the line when it would have been easier to break. Every single act of discipline, belief, and purpose becomes part of something bigger than you. And one day, someone will look at your story and whisper, "If they did it, maybe I can too." But legacies aren't built in the spotlight. They're built in the shadows, where no one's watching, where no one's clapping, where no one's validating. They're built in the small decisions that compound over time. They're built when you choose to rise one more time after the world knocks you down. They're built when you decide again and again that mediocrity will never be your home. That's why this moment matters. Because this is where most people stop. This is the line that separates the many from the few. The many make a decision, but when the storm hits, they retreat. The few walk through it. The few carry the weight. The few keep going when their knees shake and their voice breaks. And in doing so, they build something the world can't tear down. The storm isn't a punishment. It's a filter. It separates those who were playing from those who were meant to rise. This is why one decision can change everything. Not because the path ahead will be smooth, but because that decision gives birth to a new version of you. A version that doesn't crumble at the first sign of resistance. A version that doesn't need everything to be perfect to move. A version that no longer asks the world for permission. And here's the truth most will never understand. The real war is never outside. It's always inside. The war between your excuses and your conviction. Between your fear and your faith. Between the version of you that settles and the version of you that builds. And every day, through every choice, through every small act of defiance against mediocrity, you decide which one wins. There will be nights where no one believes in you. Days where the weight feels unbearable. Moments where your dream looks impossible. And those are the moments that count the most. Because if you can stand in the darkness with no applause, no spotlight, no comfort, and still whisper to yourself, "I will not break," then nothing can stop you. You see, life will never hand you greatness on a silver platter. It will hand you pain, doubt, resistance, and silence. And it will watch to see what you do with them. Most give up. The few turn them into fire. And that fire burns so bright, the world can't help but feel its heat. This is the truth of becoming unstoppable. It's not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming immune to fear's control. It's about walking into the unknown with steady hands. It's about seeing the storm and saying, "Good, I was built for this." And once you taste that power, once you realize that nothing outside of you holds more power than what's inside of you, you become dangerous. Dangerous to doubt. Dangerous to mediocrity. Dangerous to every obstacle that once thought it could own you. When that happens, the world doesn't have to understand you. It has to move for you. And then you will notice something extraordinary. The life you once dreamed about, the one that felt distant, will begin to shift. Not because the world suddenly became easy, but because you became the person capable of living it. The mountain didn't shrink. You grew wings. But even then, even as you rise, never forget what started it all. It wasn't luck. It wasn't someone saving you. It wasn't a miracle falling from the sky. It was one moment, one whisper, one decision, one refusal to live a life of almost. So many people reach the end of their lives never knowing what they could have become if they had just decided to fight. If they had just chosen to rise. If they had just taken that first step when everything inside them said, "Wait." But not you. You will not be the one who leaves this world wondering, "What if?" You will be the one who chose. The one who walked through the storm. The one who built strength in silence. The one who became unstoppable. Because that's the truth no one tells you. Greatness isn't some faraway prize. It's a choice. A decision. A fire inside you waiting to be unleashed. It's not found in the future. It's built in the now. And the now is here. Right now. It is in the way your heart beats a little faster as you imagine what's possible. It's in the way your chest tightens as you realize you've been holding back for too long. It's in the way the fire that's always been inside you starts to roar. You can feel it. You've always felt it. The question is no longer, can you? The question is, will you? Will you rise when the world sleeps? Will you build when no one believes? Will you carry the weight when no one sees? Will you become the version of yourself that was meant to change everything? Because if you decide, the world will never be the same. One decision. That's all it takes. One decision to stop living like a spectator. One decision to stop giving your power away. One decision to draw a line and step into the life that's been waiting for you all along. You are not powerless. You never were. You've simply forgotten the fire you carry. You've mistaken fear for fact, doubt for destiny. But none of that is real. What is real is the strength in your chest, the vision in your mind, the fire in your soul. And it's time to use it. The moment is not coming later. It's here, right now. The choice is yours. Will you keep waiting for life to change? Or will you become the one who changes it? One decision away. That's all it's ever been. One decision away from the strength you admire in others. One decision away from the life you dream about. One decision away from becoming everything you were meant to be. Raise your head. Straighten your spine. Look the world in the eye. And decide. Because when you do, the universe listens. The world shifts. And destiny bows.